Hey guys, Shannon here, and I was nominated by Ducknum Quach, a good friend of mine, to do the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. There's lots of great videos out there. We are creating some great momentum for the cause. I wanted to do something a little bit different rather than dumping a bucket of cold water over my head. I really wanted to get some education out there because I really didn't know what ALS was. And I'm sure there's some of you out there who, even though you've seen 100 different bucket challenges and ice flying everywhere, still don't know what ALS really is. So I wanted to do a little bit of educating instead of the actual ice bucket challenge. So let's go through it. What is ALS? So often it's called Lou Gehrig's disease, but what it is amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. And I might not be pronouncing that perfectly, so if I didn't, somebody can correct me on the YouTube channel or wherever I post this, okay? Again, it's often called Lou Gehrig's disease. And what it is, it's a progressive neurodegenerative disease. What that means is it affects nerve cells in the brain and spinal cord. So what does that end up doing? So motor neurons reach from the brain to the spinal cord and from the spinal cord to the muscles. So they all talk and there's electrical impulses go across, and that's how you move your muscles on a daily basis. With this degeneration, what ends up happening is you start to become paralyzed, usually starting in the extremities and then moving further and becoming more debilitating as it goes. Okay, very, very brutal disease. So at the end of the day, it ends up causing paralysis. So let's go through what it looks like. So I wanted to give you the Greek language meaning of amyotrophic. So A means no, myo means referring to muscle, and trophic means nourishment. So what it's saying is no muscle nourishment. So when a muscle doesn't get nourishment, it atrophies. Your muscles start to waste away, essentially. The lateral part of the meaning, or the name, means the area of the spinal cord where the portions of the nerve cells that signal and control the muscles are located. So that's where it's impacted, and that's where it really becomes something that is extremely damaging. This area ends up disintegrating and degenerates, leads to scarring or hardening, which is what the sclerosis is. Okay, so I hope that all kind of makes sense. I just wanted to break out the definition for you guys. So what happens? Okay, so your motor neurons degenerate. So they can no longer send the impulses that your muscle fibers need to fire. So to move your hand, to blink, to breathe, to do any of those things, walking, anything, you need to have that firing of the impulses. And when they degenerate, your muscles cannot fire. So it starts off small and then gets worse as it goes. Okay, so let's look at what the symptoms and whatnot look like. So first we'll talk about the facts really quick. So it's not contagious. I just put that out there just because some people, you never know, they might think it's contagious. It's not. Approximately 2 deaths per year. This is all US based figures. 2 deaths per year per 100,000 people annually. So around 5,600 diagnosed cases each year. So it's not huge on the radar. As absolutely brutal as this disease is, it's really not getting the spotlight that it needs for the research to be done to really attack this. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Let's talk about life expectancy. I was very surprised when I saw this. Sorry, bear with me here. So, average of 2 to 5 years after being diagnosed with ALS. It hits a variety of different people. We'll talk about in a little bit who gets it more than anybody else. More than 50% live 3 years or longer. Approximately 20% live 5 years or more. 10% live more than 10 years. And 5% live more than 20 years. So as you can see, these numbers are staggering. It's just unbelievable how impactful and how brutal this disease is. If you are diagnosed with it, it's a huge challenge. Okay, the onset. So let's talk about what happens. So first of all, you're going to start feeling muscle weakness and stiffness. That progresses to paralysis. It starts in the limbs. You might have weak hands, weak arms. We'll talk a little bit more about it. Some tingling, just not being able to pick stuff up, might be tripping over a rug, something small as that. And then it progresses as the paralysis gets worse and worse to the vital functions. And that's where the death ends up coming in. You aren't able to breathe. Your bodily functions aren't able to continue. And your body just can't keep going. Okay? It's a very, very sad situation. So some of the symptoms, let's go into more detail. Muscle weakness in one or more of the following. So your hands, arms, legs, your speech patterns, swallowing, breathing, twitching and cramping of the muscles, and primarily in the hands and feet at first. Impaired use of arms and legs, thick speech, and difficulty in projecting the voice. So it attacks the entire body with the degradation of the neurons, and it just affects everything. In the more advanced stages, shortness of breath, difficulty breathing and swallowing, and at the end of the day, if it progresses to a certain point, death is the end result, which it's so unbelievably sad. How do they diagnose this stuff? So, and remember, I'm getting all this stuff off the American website for ALS, and I did just a little bit of research. I just kind of wanted to enlighten everybody on how this works. So EMGs, NCVs, blood and urine studies, spinal taps, X-rays, including magnetic resonance, which is MRI, myelogram, I have never heard of that, the cervical spine, muscle and or nerve biopsies, and through neurological examination. And they specify on the sites, both Canada and the US, really make sure that if you go in, get more than one opinion, because if you're like me, I mean, I could have some of these symptoms, you know, tingling hands or weakness in one of your limbs. So make sure that you really get checked out. So let's talk about who this affects. So most of the people that it affects are between 40 and 70 years of age. Average age is 55. Interestingly, I didn't know this either, 20% or more, it's 20% more common in men. 93% of the database in the US for patients are Caucasian. So I did not know these things. So I hope that I shed some light on ALS, what it is, how it affects people. I'm just going to take a quick look here, see if there's anything else that I missed. I think I pretty much covered it. I mean, it's awesome that it's getting the spotlight, and this just shows the power of social media and how small our world really is. And I'm going to put the links to the American donations and the Canadian donations below this video. So I am going to donate. I didn't do the Ice Bucket Challenge, but I hope you guys got something out of this video and now understand what ALS is and how devastating it actually is for the people who end up with it. All right? Guys, take care. We'll talk to you soon.